Hey everybody, welcome to the GMG review. Today we're taking a look at Book 6 of the Dawnbringers, the Hounds of Chaos, which is a Slaves to Darkness slash, let's call them Darkoath release at the very tail end of what we know is 3rd edition Warhammer Age of Sigmar. So this is, somebody always gets it. Somebody's always the last book in these campaign books. And this is it. Also, the release this week is going to be Abraxia's Varan Spear, which is a brand new special character for the Slaves of Darkness, riding a Dino Lizard, and then some Vanguard, some plastic Vanguard, and then Nexus Chaotica, which is a big Chaos Star terrain piece for the Slaves of Darkness. They get their own bespoke terrain piece, which is pretty cool. And just looks even like significantly better than the 40k one. So I would even use this as a proxy for the 40k one for Chaos Space Marines. So you might have noticed we're doing a GMG review in a slightly different way. Well, there's two reasons for that. The first one is this is way easier for me to do than a 2-camera setup. And the second reason is people have been clipping my content and using it in fucking shitty political videos. And I'm all done with that. So this format is only going to apply to Games Workshop books from now on. I'm not going to sit and do Man Reads book anymore for Games Workshop books. I'm fucking over it. And the reason for that is I don't want to be associated with people pulling things out of Games Workshop books and using it for a bunch of whatever agendas that they have. I don't care what your agenda is. I am here to talk about toy soldiers and toys, and I just don't want to have my face ever associated with something that I think is stupid. So yeah, I'm done with that. A few people have been clipping my content and posting it on message boards and like random Discord channels and shit like that. So yeah, fuck you guys. You ruined it for everybody. And every other company on earth who no one cares about as much as a large trade corporation will still get, you know, a full book review where you can see the actual book, you can see the quality of the art, you can see everything else. And Games Workshop books will get me sitting here across the table. And I'm sure someone else will probably keep doing a version of that, but they won't do it as well as I did. And yeah, a very small number of people have basically ruined this for everybody and made me feel shitty about doing product reviews. So I'm all done. And what's funny is for this book in particular, for a slightly like end of edition AOS 3 book, that this video would probably have gotten like, I don't know, 500 to 1,000 views in its first day, because it's like, it's an army list entry that's going to matter for like 2 months, and you know, some cool new box set and units and stuff like that, and some cool background, like some really cool background. This video is probably going to become a bigger deal because of everything I just said. So apology for the profanity if you're not used to hearing me talk that way. And apologies to Games Workshop for me, you know, introducing this in one of their reviews, but I don't like being associated without my permission with anybody who is trying to make an agenda out of people who just want to be creative and make toy soldiers and make toy soldier stuff on the internet and talk about that, because I believe that this whole industry is about people coming together in a social setting and playing fun, weird, stupid games together in order to enjoy each other's company. And if it's more than that to anybody else, I think you are missing the point, and you are co-opting something that could be very healthy and great for you into something that is probably eroding your soul. So there it is. If anyone wants my voice note, a quote on that, that's the quote. So let's talk about this book. My preamble is all done. Dawnbringers Dawnbringers 6, The Hounds of Chaos. This is obviously the chaos pushback to everything that's going on in the Mortal Realms right now. We get some cool new units. This is a follow-up to the Slaves to Darkness army box, which had great new updates to the Marauder Horsemen, to the Chaos Marauders themselves. Like a ton of really cool stuff as far as like model updates for some relatively old models. Like the Marauder Horsemen, the plastics came out during late 7th edition Warhammer Fantasy Battle. So they've been around for a while. They never updated the Marauder plastics. Those plastics are from 6th edition Warhammer Fantasy Battle. Those Marauders are old, because when I started playing my Chaos Army, which I think I built, so my Chaos Army was kind of like a version of like Archeon Story. It was like fallen White Wolves who'd gone rogue, and I used like old metal White Wolf miniatures and converted all of my Marauders out of the Regiment of Renown. So there was Bjorn's Bearmen or something like that. I think it was what they were called. They were a Marauder regiment, basically all in metal for the Dogs of War Army in 5th edition Warhammer Fantasy Battle. I used them as all my Marauders, which was a nightmare. So yeah, getting those updated plastics was really cool. And this follow-up was really cool too. There is of course a Path to Glory campaign in here about the destruction of a city. It's basically a additional set of like stuff for fighting the Twin-Tailed Crusade in Akshay and Goran. And it's the final battle, so the final chapter. The following rules, basically, starting with Dawnbringers Book 2, Reign of the Brute. Each installment of the Dawnbringers series has included rules to create the Twin-Tailed Crusade in your Path to Glory campaigns. This is like the final battle. And should I use the strong point rules? You can or you can't. It's up to you. But it's the fate of the city. And you're basically finding out what happens outside of Hammerhall. And yeah, there's a whole section basically on ending that campaign. And the final sort of like a tally goes into the campaign outcome. So it's either the final battle's result. If it's a major victory for the despoiler, you're brought to ruin. Defeated by their own gates, the enemy now run rampant through the streets, scattering everybody through Hammerhall. And do you burn the gate and fall back through it? A minor victory is you lose part of the city. A minor victory for the despoiler. Sorry, minor victory for the defenders. Obviously, there's massive damage done to Hammerhall, or the one side of Hammerhall, but you survive, and on and on. So then what else is in here rules wise? Well, the majority of this book is going to be dedicated to two sort of sub factions for Slaves of Darkness that you can play as. Either the Swords of Chaos, which is Archaon's personal warband, which might be the simplest to build army of all time. It's just Archaon, Varangard, and Abraxas. Abraxia, sorry. So you don't need a lot of miniatures. In fact, the starter of this army is this box set right here, the Slaves of Darkness Abraxia's Varangard. They're basically giving you a really easy to build mini army in here. And Archaon's like 1,000 points. So I'm pretty sure it's like you need 2 more boxes of Varangard in this box and Archaon, and you have an army. That's 11 models. Your army's 11 models. It's the chaos version of a Sons of Bahamut army. And then you also got a cool all Marauders sort of army, which is called I think it's the Snowbound Tribes. The Tribes of the Snow Peaks, sorry. And their whole thing is that you need to include Darkoaths. It's all Darkoath models. So it's allowing you to use that Slaves of Darkness army box, plus these new units that have come out, like Brand's Band over here, which is the other new box, which I think I forgot to mention because I can't see it right now because it's behind these other 2 boxes. It's a very cool, like, small model count. It honestly looks like it was maybe developed to be a Warhammer Underworlds warband, because they all have those scenic bases and stuff like that, but you could just use them as character models and stuff too, or you can use them as their own warband, which has its own special rules in this as well. So it's a character warband. It's a Underworlds warband, but apparently not for Underworlds. So I feel like a lot of these got developed and they're just kind of choosing, like, do we just throw some into armies in AOS, or do we actually do like the full Underworlds treatment for them? This feels like it's like 6 of the half of one, one half the other. So let's talk about the Damned Hosts and Abraxia. Abraxia, of course, is living proof that the rewards await for those who triumph in the path to glory. One who rose from nothing to command a reality-shattering host, believing that total victory is his destiny. She commands the Ever-Chosen's elite, wielding her cursed spear to annihilate her opposition. So she rides a thing called Gorbolga, which is this massive, weird demon dinosaur. I'm not really sure what it's supposed to be. And she's a warlord of the First Circle. She commands the Swords of Chaos, which is the relentless brutality. So she commands Archaon's personal... And this is a callback. The Swords of Chaos were Archaon's personal warband during the end times. And like that whole storyline basically is about him rising from being a Templar to Sigmar, forming the Swords of Chaos, and then destroying the world. So it's cool that she's still around and she's leading what's left of well, not what's left. It's AOS. So the Swords of Chaos probably have gotten new recruits, but also they still exist somehow in another dimension, in another place. And then she's armed with Golbolga. Her mount is named, Thanatorg. Gorbolga is the name of her sword. And Thanatorg is the Vorpal Claws and Fangs are his weapon, her mount. So pretty stabby, move 10 inches. She's kind of like a super tuned up version of the Chaos Lord on Kakodrax, although like a much larger Kakodrak. So move 10, 4+ save, which is kind of an interestingly low save. Bravery 9, 14 wounds. Gorbulga's 2-inch range, so 5 attacks, 3+, 3+, -2/2 damage. It's a decent like hero weapon. And then the Vorpal Claws and Fangs are 6 attacks, 4s and 3s, -1 D3 damage. She's not that spendy. She's not that much more than the Kakadrak Lord. I think she's 260, yeah. So she's a couple more points than that guy, but not hugely different. She's Warlord of the First Circle. The unit can be issued the same command up to 3 times in the same phase, so she can auto-attack 3 times. If it does so, each command must go to Vanguard, though. So she's designed to fight inside this Swords of Chaos warband. No command points spent for the second and third times the unit issues this command that phase. So free all attacks or free all defenses 3 times per phase. Well, 2 times out of 3 during the course of a turn. She has Blood of Molten Varanite. Any who wound the Thanatorg risk being splashed by its highly mutative blood. Roll a dice each time a wound caused by an attack made by, it's basically an alien from Aliens, by a melee attack target, someone on 4+, take a mortal wound. So every time you wound this 14 wound thing, because it's her stat line too, you take a wound back. And then she's got a 4+ ward against mortal wounds only from her Warp Steel Shield. Gorbulga the Accursed, a gift from the Everchosen. Gorbulga is a Varanspite spear that carries a potent mutative curse, but should its wielder ever slip, they too will learn its hunger. At the start of the combat phase, if this unit's within 3 of the enemy, roll a die and see what happens. On a 1, you take a mortal wound because it's mad at you. On a 2 to 3, no effect. On a 4 to 5, White Hot Varanite. Add 1 of the damage characteristic of this unit's Gorbulga until the end of the phase. And on a 6, a Rampant Mutation. The effect of White Hot Varanite applies, see the above. In addition, at the end of the phase, reach unmodified hit roll of 6 for an attack with this unit's Gorbulga. After all the units have destroyed, you can pick a unit to take D3 mortal wounds within 6. So basically, she splashes the mutation around from the spear. And then we have as our second big new unit for the Chaos units, the Nexus Chaotica. And then the rest of this unit stuff is going to be reprints of, well, sorry, Bran's Oathbound's in here, but then reprints of some of the new Darkoath stuff like the Marauders, the Fell Riders, the Warp Fiend, and the Darkoath Chieftain, which I believe are all in the Swords of Chaos, or the Slave to Darkness box set. So the Nexus Chaotica, if you're Slaves to Darkness, then you can have this for free. Set up after territories are determined. You can set this up wholly within your territory, more than 3 from any other objectives or terrain features. It's impassable. Can't move through it. It's Corrupting the Realms. This terrain feature starts the battle with 0 power points because it's just like rising up out of the ground. At the start of the hero phase, roll a dice and add the result of its power points total. It can never have more than 12 power points, and you can spend them in the following ways. Each time you pick a friendly wizard to attempt to cast a spell, if it's within 3 of this terrain feature, you can spend 3 of its power points. If you do so, add 1 to the casting roll for the attempt. So basically, you can, for every 3 points that are on it, you get +1 to cast. And you can pick an objective or terrain feature and spend 9 on this terrain feature's power points. If you do so, roll a dice on a 2+. All enemy units contesting that objective or terrain feature take D3 mortal wounds. On a 1, the Nexus releases a pulse of mutating energies. All friendly units within 3 of this terrain feature suffer D3 wounds. Roll for each one. So, yes. Don't roll a 1 or your terrain feature explodes. Roll a 2+, something else explodes and does fire chaosness everywhere. I kind of imagine it's like spinning. You know what I mean? Like its blades are like spinning around, like just hurricaning through stuff. So the other new units, or not new units, the new unit set is Bran's Oathbound. I'm not going to bother going through the Chieftain, the Marauders, and the Fell Riders and Wilder Fiend because they're all in the box set. So this is Bran's Oathbound with Gunner Brand as the leader. And he is a badass miniature. I'm excited just to paint these models because they are like some Conan the Barbarian level, like dressed up chaos dudes. The Darkoath stuff, like since Silver Tower, when they featured the Darkoath War Chief, which is like the first time they did Darkoath models, they are some of my favorite miniatures in Age of Sigmar. They just have like, they're cool. They're bad guys, but they're cool. You know what I mean? Like they're like Sting when he was in WCW. They have real Sting energy. I don't know why that's what I relate them to, but they have Saint of Killers from the Preacher energy. So Gunner Brand, 1 Oath Sworn Kin and 1 Singri Brand are your unit profile. And how many points are they? They're a grand total of 260. Yeah, because there's 3 kin, which is just like dudes. There's the guy on the horse, and then there's Gunner himself. Their ability is called Favor of the Gods. At the end of the combat phase, if any enemy heroes were slain by an attack made by Gunner, he receives the Favor of the Gods. Each time he receives the Favor of the Gods, heal all wounds allocated to friendly Oathbound units, wholly within 18 of him, and add 1 to the attack characteristic of melee weapons used by friendly Oathbound units until the end of the battle. So like every time he kills a hero, everybody levels up because the favor gets better and they start to heal. He's got dualies, dual axes. He's got 5 attacks, 3s and 3s, -1/2 damage, just like the hero stat line now. 6-inch move, 6 wounds, 5+ save, and bravery 8. His special rules are carve a path to glory in the combat phase after this unit's fought for the first time. Once you're going to pick a unit, you can be picked to fight again. If he's within 3 of any enemy heroes, all attacks must target that hero. So he can fight twice per phase or per turn as long as he's attacking a hero. That's 10, 3 and 3 -1/2 damage attacks. That's going to put a dent on any, like, he will make a mess out of goblin armies where there's like tons of little pocket heroes sitting around. Yeah, it'll be bad. And then Oath of Bloodshed. The first time an enemy hero is slain by attacks made by this unit fulfills its oath. Once this unit fulfills its oath, friendly brands oathbound units wholly within 12 of them have a 4+ ward. So basically, yeah, everybody, all the kin and Sigri and him all get 4+ wards all of a sudden when they're nearby. And they're going to heal every time he kills a hero too. So it's a neat little, I mean, it's gimmicky, like but it's cool. The kin all have 3 wounds each. So does Singri, which is, I think, his son. No, it's his sister. Singri's his sister. There you go. Yeah, it's his sister. No, daughter, sister, daughter. I'm trying to find the background for them. I don't know. It doesn't say the story in here. Related to Gunner somehow. And then the Aspirant kin all have 3, same course outline, 6-inch move, 3 wounds, just half as many wounds, bravery 6 and a 5+ save. They get heavy Darkoath weapons. Basically, War Queen Tanari and Dendril Darabrand are armed with heavy Darkoath weapons. Broken Naja is armed with a gnarled staff. So the Darkoath weapons are 3 attacks, 3s and 3s, -1/2 damage. So just more gunner attacks, basically. And the gnarled staff is 2 attacks, 3s and 3s, -1d3 damage. So Broken Naja can attempt to cast 1 spell on your turn and dispel 1 spell on your turn. She's a wizard. And then Whispering Death is a spell that she has with a value of 5 and a range of 18. The enemy hero, if you cast, pick an enemy hero within range and visible to the caster, they take a wound, a mortal wound, and until the start of your next hero phase, subtract 1 from their attacks. So the Oath-sworn kin basically are debuffers to wound other enemy heroes nearby so the gunner can go and finish them off. And then Singri has a warbow and a brand ancestral knife. Her warbow has 2 attacks, 3s and 3s, -1d3 damage, and then the ancestral knife has 3 attacks, 3s and 4s, -1/1 damage. Her horse has horse hooves. She swift as the wind. Only unmodified hit rolls of 6 successfully score hits for attacks to target her. So you can only ever hit her on 6+. So she's like this solo 1-person unit that can only be hit by 6s. The value of this unit with her in it goes up substantially because she can just go sit on an objective far away from everything, and you can't just pick her off with shooting. Like, she only has 3 wounds, but you can only hit her on 6s. You either have to target her with spells or some kind of direct damage, or she just goes and like sits at the very far edge of an objective and just holds it, which I think is very funny. It's almost worth taking them just for her. She's really interesting. And then she has Uncanny Shot. If the unmodified hit roll for a shooting attack made by this unit's a 6, and that attack targets a unit within 6 of Gunner Brand, the target suffers D3 mortal wounds and the attack sequence ends. So she could do 2 D3 mortal wounds to something that Gunner's fighting. So like everything's about picking off heroes near Gunner, and she's a very cool, like, sits back and holds an objective. They weirdly have more value than any of these little sort of like warband, Underworlds kind of warbands should, in my opinion. Of course, it's only going to matter for a minute. And then we can talk about the 2 army types that are in here. Again, I'm not going to go through the Chieftain and the Wilderfiend and Marauders and Foe Riders because there's info out there about them right now. So starting with the Swords of Chaos, everything has to either have Vanguard, Archeon, or Abraxia keywords. I keep saying Abraxas. Why am I saying that? I keep missing it up because of Abraxo Cleaner in Fallout. That's why. Because I've been playing Fallout 4 again because of the TV show. I'm like, why is that name messing me up? And it's because of Abraxo Cleaner. This is why my brain is breaking from the weight of game information that it's trying to hold. I'm pretty sure I am descending into madness. Descent from the Ruinous Skies. This whole army can deep strike. So like everyone in this army can be put in reserve and then can show up any number of units in your army from the Ruinous Skies. At the end of your movement phase, you can set up 1 or more reserve units anywhere in the battlefield more than 9 from the enemy. And then Knights of the First Circle, all the Vanguard get battle line. You get Demands of the Dark Gods. At the start of the battle round, after priority rolls have been made, you can pick 1 of the Chaos Gods to beseech. If you do so, apply the corresponding effect below. The same Chaos God can be picked multiple times during a battle, but can't be picked 2 consecutive battle rounds in a row. So you can't do them twice in a row, but you can pick the same one more than once. So Demands of Khorne. Until the end of the battle round, improve the rend of melee weapons by friendly Swords of Chaos units by 1. Not including mounts. In addition, pick a friendly Vanguard unit, and if you do so, the strike first applies to them until the end of the battle round. So it's -1 rend, and also strike first for one of your units. Demand a Cinch. You can pick one enemy unit within 9 of a friendly Swords of Chaos unit to be hit by a Bolt of Change. On a 2+, they take a number of mortal wounds equal to the dice roll. On a 1, pick a friendly Vanguard unit. If you do so, that unit has a... in addition, pick a friendly Vanguard unit. Nothing happens on a 1. Pick a friendly Vanguard unit, they get a 4+ ward. So 4+ ward for one of your Vanguards. On a 2+, that many dice mortal wounds. The Demand of Nurgle, heal D3 wounds allocated to each friendly Swords of Chaos unit. In addition, you can pick one enemy unit within 3 of any friendly Swords of Chaos unit. If you do so, until the end of the battle round, subtract 1 from save rolls for attacks that target them. So just -1 to save rolls. Not a rend. Demand of Slanesh, until the end of the battle round, add one of the attack characteristic of melee weapons used by friendly Swords of Chaos units. In addition, you can pick one friendly Vanguard unit. If you do so until the end of the battle round, that unit can run or retreat and still charge later in the turn. That's pretty cool. So the fact that they can like move back and still charge is nice, and then +1 attack on top of that. So it really is like pick a situational bonus for one of your Vanguard units, and then also a buff that applies to your whole army. And then First Circle titles. A First Circle title is a unique enhancement. You can take 3 of them for a Swords of Chaos army, because that's how many Swords of Chaos units you're going to have, and Archaon and Abraxia, because that's basically going to be exactly the points. I'm pretty sure they actually pointed Abraxia so that she fits into a 2,000 point army with 3 units of Vanguard and Archaon. I didn't do the math, but like now that I think of it, I'm pretty sure that's what she's pointed at. Because you're just going to have 3. Each time you take a First Circle enhancement, you can pick one friendly First Circle title from the deal below and give it to a Vanguard unit. So you can be Grimroot Order, get up wounds, Tamers of Harad's Torment, add one of your damage characteristic of the horses. Castellans of the Uten Vaults at the end of the combat phase. If this unit's within 3 of the enemy, you can pick up an enemy unit within 3 of this unit and roll a die. On a 2+, they take D3 mortal wounds, so now you explode. Betrayers of the Anvil King, get +1 to your save rolls. The Blackstorm Apostates, add 3 to your move. And then the Hounds of the Apocalypse, add 1 of the attack characteristics of this unit's melee weapons while it's wholly within the enemy territory or contesting an objective that you do not control. Wound, save, explode, I feel like. Actually, explode doesn't really matter. I mean, it matters in this edition because there's still kind of morale. But I think just mechanical bonuses. Save, wound, damage, maybe. Because the horses kick pretty hard in Vanguard, actually. And then battle tactics, there's 3 for this army. Everchosen's Rebuke. Complete this battle tactic if the enemy general is slain this turn by a friendly Vanguard unit. Total Destruction. Pick an objective controlled by your opponent. Complete this battle tactic if you control the objective at the end of the turn. And there's any friendly Vanguard units that use the Relentless Killer ability in this turn contesting it. So the 2 fight. Or fight twice, sorry. And then Silence All Challengers. Pick one friendly unit within 3 of an enemy unit. You complete this battle tactic if that unit fights in the combat phase this turn, and at the end of the phase, there's no enemy within 3. So you just pick somebody who's all about to kill off whatever they're fighting and then kill it off. These are all incredibly easy battle tactics for this army, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I like them. They're straightforward and they're super easy, and they just do what you're going to be doing anyway. And then Grand Strategy, Dominating Presence. When the battle ends, you complete this Grand Strategy if there's a friendly Archaon and or Abraxia on the battlefield and no enemy heroes. Just kill all the enemy heroes. I don't think I would take that one. I think I would just take your generals alive and have Archaon be not dead. Because if you lost Archaon, then there's a problem anyway. And last but not least, Tribes of the Snow Peaks. This is the all Marauder army. Everyone has to have the Darkoath keyword, and they gain the Tribes of the Snow Peaks keyword. Your battle trait is the Pledge of the Dark Gods. Each time a friendly Mortal Darkoath unit fulfills its oath, you gain an oath point. In addition, each time you complete a battle tactic, you gain an oath point. If the battle tactic you're using doesn't use battle tactics, you can still use the battle tactics on page 83. So these ones over here. And you just use them to earn oath points instead. At the start of your hero phase, you can pick one battle tactic from page 83. You must reveal your choice to your opponent. If your battle tactic instructs you to pick something, you must tell your opponent what you pick. And you have until the end of the round to complete the battle tactic. And if your battle pack is not using them, you'd still score oath points from them. And then each oath point can be used to spend on a reward of chaos. So there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them. So you can have this. It's funny because as soon as I read these, I was like, this sounds like Brave Star shouting them. Speed of the Blood Crow. I don't know. You have to kind of be of my age to know what Brave Star was, but it's very funny. You can give this reward to a friendly Darkoath unit that was picked to run. If you do so, instead of making a run roll, add 6 to their move. And they can still run and charge in the same turn. Demon Fire Weapons. You can give this reward to a Darkoath unit that's picked to fight. If you do so until the end of the phase, improve their rend by 1. Hunger of Shashan. Shashan? Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Shashan. Yeah. You can give this reward to a friendly Darkoath unit that's been picked to fight. If you do so until the end of the phase, add one of the attack characteristics of the unit's melee weapons. Messenger of the Gods. At the end of your movement phase, you can give this reward to a friendly Darkoath Marauder or Darkoath Fellrider unit that's been destroyed. If you do so, a new replacement unit shows up, the usual thing on a battlefield edge. It's almost the same as the old one, so within 6 of an edge, not within 9 of the enemy. And then Shroud of the Pale Elk. You can give this reward to a friendly Darkoath unit that's targeted by an attack. If you do so, until the end of the phase, you have a 4+ ward save. That's an amazing ability on big fat Darkoath units on objectives. And then Rage of Arkar. You can give this reward to a friendly Darkoath unit that's picked to fight. If you do so, that unit can fight for a second time in the phase, but you strike last. And then you've got your usual mix of command traits, artifacts of power, grand strategies, and battle tactics. So command traits. And it's funny, they didn't bother with command traits and artifacts of power for the Vanguard, if you're wondering why, because there's no heroes in it that can take them, because it's Archaon and Abraxia. So like they're disqualified from taking all them, so don't bother. Just give names to all your Vanguard units instead. So command traits: Oath of Desecration, Oath of Kinship, and Oath of Slaughter. So the Oath of Desecration, this general counts as 5 models for contesting objectives. And if you're contesting an objective, you get an oath point. That's not within your territory. Oath of Kinship, add one of the hit rolls for attacks made with this general if they're within 3 of any of the friendly Darkoath units. In addition, if the general fought this turn is within 3 of a friendly Darkoath unit, you get an oath point. And then Oath of Slaughter, improve the run characteristic of this general's melee weapons by 1. In addition, at the end of each turn, if any enemy models were slain by the general, then they gain an oath point. So just 3 more ways to get oath points. Again, I don't love these in-turn tracking things where you have to track something. It's like the momentum thing in the Orc army where I'm like, what does it do? It doesn't matter. This is for me to care about. We'll figure it out when it happens. Like, it's additional battlefield information. I'm glad these kinds of mechanics I think will probably be gone in the future because there's just too much of them. So your artifacts, the Bloodthirsty Blade, pick one of the bearer's melee weapons. Improve the rank characteristic of the weapon by 1. In addition, the first time a model is slain by an attack made with that weapon, add one of the attack characteristics for the rest of the battle. So if you kill somebody, you get an attack. A Grand Offering. At the end of the first battle round, you can pick a friendly Darkoath Wilder Fiend unit within 6 of the bearer to receive D6 sacrifice points, because you're also tracking sacrifice points with your Wilder Fiend. And then God Shadow Talisman. The bearer has a save characteristic of 4+. In addition, ignore modifiers positive and negative to save rolls for attacks that target the bearer. And then your battle tactics are also oaths. Oath of the First Blood. You complete this battle tactic if the first unit to be destroyed this turn was enemy. Oath of Honor. You complete this battle tactic if an enemy hero is slain by a mortal Darkoath hero this turn. And Oath of Pillaging. You can complete this battle tactic at the end of the turn if there's a friendly mortal Darkoath unit within 1 inch of the long battlefield edge in the enemy territory. Okay, so they managed to include the word oath in this army 1,000 times because the name of the army is Darkoath. I get it. I see the gimmick. I see what you guys did there. I love that. I just don't love that there's a bunch of like tracking oath points and spending oath points stuff. It's just in-turn economy stuff removes the camera from the game. So as much as like I appreciate the gimmick of like we're going to make oaths and fulfill oaths and then spend that fun buck on stuff from like a table of things I might remember or not remember to do. It's too much overhang information in the battlefield. It's a game. It's a mechanic that when you write it down, it's fun to read and you nod along and go like, oh, cool. They're doing oaths. They're called Darkoath. This works. It's miserable to play. And it's even more miserable to play against because your opponent very often does not have any idea what's going on. Make a note, Games Workshop, on that kind of mechanical stuff because you've been doing it for like an edition and a half of Age of Sigmar. Everything from like plague points to change points to whatever skee ball tickets come out of your army, you know what I mean, that you can then trade in for a pencil topper. It just removes the camera from the action. And I beg you for Age of Sigmar 4, when you start layering stuff on top of the core game that's going to come out, don't do that. It's distracting. It distracts from your engagement with your opponent. It distracts from your engagement to what's happening on the table in front of you. Keep the camera on the table. Make the decisions that I'm making based on that information, not on some like additional economy that only I'm participating in and only I get to enjoy. My opponent does not get to enjoy that economy. So it's just me being distracted from the gameplay experience. It's not great rules design. It's clever, but clever doesn't mean fun. And that's my 2-second soapbox on that. As a game designer to a major corporation full of ostensibly game designers. And then more Path to Glory stuff. And they do something here that I like, which I wish I could show you. Maybe I'll take a picture of this page and put it up next to me. They talk about realms of chaos through the ages. They show Lost in and Slaves to Darkness. They show you how to do a player faction with different chaos factions vying for power. This is my favorite part of the book. They're bringing back the original Chaos Path to Glory. You pick either Slaves of Darkness, Blades of Khorne, Disciples of Tzeentch, Megakin of Nurgle, or Hedonets of Slaanesh, and you play a who's got the coolest god, what's the location. You create your own aspiring Chaos Lord. You create their stat line. This is the part of the book I wish I could be showing you guys right now, because this is great. This is like a design your own Chaos Lord, have destiny points, buy them mounts, buy them their own chaos weapons, convert your miniature. I wish you could see what I'm seeing right now, guys. It's so friggin' cool. You can buy them cursed broadswords and hexed battle axes and chaos lances. This is the best part of this whole book. You can stick them on different mounts. It's so good. And then rules for how they fight. There's like a 4-player game mechanic. There's an injury table for after your guys get knocked out and they all fight each other. It's so good. And then all of the arenas are different parts of the chaos realm, different places the different gods will cover and stuff like that. And there's even a blank character sheet. Look, I'll show you that part. Somebody want to use this in a video. It's a blank character sheet for creating your Chaos Lord and converting them. Well done on that one. I want more shit like that in my Age of Sigmar. I think that's fantastic. So there we go. It's Dawnbringers Vi, Hounds of Chaos. The final book in the Dawnbringers series, as we have sort of the march towards Hammerhall, Akshi, and Garan, and the badness that's happening basically across the Mortal Realms, reaching ahead as this sort of ultimate battle shakes out. So thanks Workshop for sending this stuff along. I like this. I like this book. I have obviously some comments about the game design and stuff like that, but I think this is a good end of the season. The armies are characterful. They're not. I had some comments about the previous Dawnbringers books where it just felt like they had these factions that weren't as popular and they're trying to zhuzh them up and make kits that weren't selling very well. The all gunship one. I was like, why? Cool. I get what you're doing here, but I don't care about these gunships. I don't care about gun haulers or whatever it was. There was just a bunch of those armies that were like that. This is just hey, we made a whole bunch of new models. We brought a faction back. We updated a range that hadn't been updated in a long time. Here's a cool way to play them until the new edition comes out. And then we'll give you rules for all that in the new edition too. Because obviously they're going to get War Scrolls just like everybody else does at some point. So I'm excited about Dawnbringers rounding off. I'm excited for some of the weird stuff they experimented in this with, a narrative campaign that was linked. The final Path to Glory Chaos Champion fighting thing is extremely cool. And the model kits are great. Abraxia is the weakest of them, honestly. She's fine. She's just not that interesting. She's just kind of another Kakadrak Lord. I wish they'd done something slightly different with her. It's not chaosy. They're just riding another giant thunder lizard. Do something chaos. It's chaos, man. You can do literally anything. Do something chaosy with the Vanguard Knights. And I do really like the terrain piece. It's much cooler than the Noctilith Demon Sphincter, whatever that thing's called, the 40k one. So overall, the product number is really good. And Brand's Warband is fantastic. Those miniatures are super freaking cool. But that's just, anything that was maybe developed for Warhammer Underworlds is going to be that way because they're all individual character models, basically. If you just want to, honestly, one of my favorite things they've done with Age of Sigmar is Underworlds, because if you're just a painter or a collector and you just want to get some cool centerpiecey, posed models, the Underworlds range is just phenomenal for that because they're all these bespoke, cool miniatures that are evocative of the range they come from. And this one's, the same. It's equally cool. So it is. So I hope you enjoyed that. Thanks to Workshop sending along these kits to me to review and you guys to watch this new format for all the GW reviews. Buckle up, everybody. This is what we're doing now. But the old format will be available today for 2 other videos that you can check out. So thanks for watching. We'll see you for more reviews. Till then, I'm Ash. Happy gaming.